Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Buzz, 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 buzz. It's Blake's Buzz Live. Hate less, read comics. It's Blake's Buzz Live.
Buzz, buzz, babies.
Buzz, buzz, babies. It's Friday Night Live. It's almost Saturday Night Live. It's sort of a knockoff. It's fine. It's the weekend, and I have some awesome comics to talk to you guys about. Mr. Keith Champagne and Mr. Tom Nguyen are on the show. Keith has been here 3 times. Can you believe that? He's put up with my bullshit 3 times. Tom, this is Tom's first time, and Tom's already done with me, basically. Like he's
No, I'll tell you something. Keith told me that I will have a ton of fun on your show, that you're an awesome host. So I'm looking forward to it.
He did not.
He did.
You
I
stop
swear.
it. You both stop it. You're adorable.
I lie all the time, but this is the one time I'm telling the truth.
He told me that too. He was like, Blake, can we come back on your show? Like, I really like being on there. And I was like, okay, fine, I guess. You promised.
I love your intro, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Hey, that was the best $50 I've ever. I always make the joke that that's one of the best $50 I've ever spent, and I like drugs, and so that's
who did that for you?
It's a friend of the show. I play him on the outro. He's just a buddy who like has fun making music. Yeah, he started off as my podcast intro, and he just kind of like we vibe, right? Like he understands me. And he did he started off doing my podcast intro, and then he did this intro, and then he also did a Patreon honeypot intro for me, which I've adjusted now because I launched a Patreon and then quickly got like the water went right above my head because it was like I was like, let's review comics, let's have a day job, let's have a life. I don't have much of a life, but there's a little bit of it there. And then I was like, let's do the live stream. Let's do this. And then I'll launch this Patreon, and I'll do this exclusive Patreon content. I totally shit the bed on Patreon. And I actually just released an update about this, and anybody who's giving me money, I'm sorry. And I apologize openly about this. Tom, thank you so much for bringing up this bad blood that we need to talk about right now. I have
a Patreon myself.
Yeah, let's all put our hoods on. That's dope. I'm digging this. I'm digging the solidarity. But yeah, so he just he got it, and he told me to like send him some audio samples, right? And he was like, do your buzz baby, and he was like, do this, and he just fucking put it together, and like it was the best $50 I ever spent. Like I don't regret giving that guy $50 at all. And so yeah, he kind of just makes music in his off time. He works at a dispensary. He actually offered me a job. I got offered a job as a bud tender because he's another person who like, he's like, dude, your day job is destroying you.
I was gonna say, that's your backup right there, bartender.
Well, and that's on it. Like, I'm still thinking about it. It's
bartending.
It's a $2 an hour pay cut is the only bad thing. So it's a significant pay cut, but it also might be like, the mental health aspect of it may make everything better.
Only you can decide if that, what that missing $2 an hour is worth,
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Exactly. So I don't know. I'm still thinking.
It's like me and my $100 and $200 per page cuts. But I love drawing so much. I love comics. I just do it anyway.
Whatever you charge is worth it, man. Because I'm not gonna lie. Like the Switch is so pretty. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
Have you read it yet?
Yeah, I read it.
What do you think?
I made Keith send it to me. I was like, well, first of all, I found out because I was kind of like Googling after like Keith hit me up, and I saw that it was like previously released, and so I asked Keith, I was like, hey man, like, can I read this before we talk? And he sent me a copy, and yeah, I fucking loved it. It was so good. I loved the gray. It's all about the gray area, right? Like, which is funny because it's so colorful and vibrant on every single page, but it's so about the gray area of like, not everybody is 100% good, not everybody is 100% bad.
That's right. You know, and that will.
except the guy who does like the mind shit. Like fuck. I'm so glad that guy got taken. Like fuck that guy, man. He's that total bag motherfucker.
Hey
God,
Keith,
I mean, but
Keith, the
like
gray area,
how
that's
good
gonna
is it?
lead into our Buttman and Rubbin project.
Oh God.
I want to talk about Buttman and Rubbin.
We've been live for 5 minutes and we're already going into another project like that. I love this. Like I'm all everybody jokes about like when my live streams is just like a constant like derailing. Which you guys will figure that out. We got some
That makes
friends in
it
the
fun.
comments. It is fun. Well, comics are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be fun and
Yeah.
remind you of real life and make you think about shit. And that's what you guys are doing, and I love it. Geek Collective's in the house. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Even though we're part of the Geek Collective, so he's like a mandatory audience member, but we'll take it.
He's a
We'll take
plant.
that. Mr. John Westoff's in the house. What's up, baby? John's got another campaign coming on. We're probably gonna do a live stream for that too, if he lets me. I cursed him the last time. He funded. It just took a while, and he gave me shit because some of the other live streams I had on for Kickstarter like funded in a day or two, and his took a little bit longer, and he blamed that on me. That's fine, John. We'll deal with that later. But anyways, regardless, everybody, it's Friday night. It's time for the weekend. We're taking a couple breaks off from the Super Bowl, which Kansas City's going to be in, by the way. This is my hoodie from when we won the Super Bowl 3 years ago. And so like I'm just everything is kind of wonderful right now, and I'm really excited. I'm so like Keith is I really like Keith. The first time I had Keith on, I was really, really paranoid that he was bored because a lot of times when I have
Just a
people
normal
on,
facial expression.
well, yeah, well, but it's not just that. Like, my live stream last year was very much a clusterfuck. Like, I would have a few different campaigns on at a time, and everybody would get like 15 to 20 minutes to talk, right? But like, in that 15-20 minutes, like no one else really gets to talk that much unless they like chime in on something. And like, I just felt like bad, like, because like everybody kept talking and Keith was kind of quiet, and I was like, this dude's never gonna come back on my show again. And it is now he's on his third time here. But I'm doing things a little bit differently now. Like I want to keep doing these live streams. I want to keep, like putting some focus on some fun new Kickstarters out there. But I want this, right? Like I want one campaign that we can talk about and have the creatives on and have fun and chat and I think like having 3 or 4 campaigns on one live stream, sometimes with 6 or 7, I almost said contestants like it's a game show. I almost with like 6 or 7 guests. It just gets a little crazy. And so like I'm trying to switch stuff up and change things up a little bit. And so I'm excited to talk about this. Also, I had long form COVID and I didn't get to do any of this for like a couple months because it like I couldn't talk right. Or I could talk, it just sounded gross, right? It sounded like I had gravel in my throat. And it was like there was a lot of phlegm situations and weird stuff going on, and I was just like chaotically sleepy all the time. And so I'm excited that like I'm back now, and I'm also excited that like I got sick and took a couple months off, and some of my guests wanted to come back. So anyways, Keith, for real, man, like I really appreciated this because not gonna lie, first time you were on my show I thought you hated me, and just because I thought you were just like I fuck this guy, man. Like, you're like, I'm just sitting here and I'm waiting for my 15 minutes to talk about my comic. And, but no, like we've talked outside the show and he's been on a couple other times and he's good people. And Tom, I'm excited to talk to you tonight because I really do love your art. It's
Likewise. Thank you.
exceptional. Well, thank you. I'm proud of my art too. I've never drawn anything in my fucking life, but that's cool. No, but you guys have a very polished comic. And it's satirical and it's introspective and it's there's a lot going on past the plot, right? And that's very smart when you do a comic like this, when you make it feel like a big 2 comic, and it's not a big 2, it's very indie. And and you guys have been around the block before, and I'm excited to talk about that too, because it's kind of a re-release, right, of this trade, and it's a relaunch, and it's a fresh experience, and it's a pedestal to your next chapter, because you guys are coming back after this, right? Like that's what it sounds like. I mean, that's what you put in your Kickstarter. I'm not leaking anything, right? I'm not a fucking half-ass plumber like working on your shower that's going to flood your bathroom. Like this is these guys put this in their Kickstarter. Like they're going to come back after this. That's the plan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the reason why we're bringing it back right now, was just to reintroduce the character in the world of the Switch to the audience who's been away for a few years. So, prime the pump and get everyone excited and ready for the next chapter of this thing.
Yeah, and
Tom,
this edition
you
will
draw.
have.
Oh, sorry. You know,
Oh no,
you
no, I'm
go.
sorry.
You go. No,
No,
you
I'm
go.
just gonna say this isn't just a simple release; it's a remaster, so it's gonna have
Yeah.
some new exclusive material and stuff too. So there's an incentive to get it, even if you've gotten the original version before. This one will essentially give a preview into what's next for the Switch.
Because yeah, before you did a hardcover through Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Like there was a hardcover, and then there was an oversized Kickstarter edition that was oversized, and
Yeah,
then
well,
now we've got the
it's the same
remaster.
book. Well, Dynamite did me a solid in that we originally were going to publish this ourselves after the first Kickstarter, and I was in over my head, like trying to put this book together, and then also get it released, and then try to get it into shops and everything too. So Dynamite came in as the publisher. They teamed up with us to get it out there, which was super great of them to do. But it's the same. Like Dynamite published the same oversized book that went to the Kickstarter backers too. So it was the same edition for stores
Yeah.
and Kickstarter backers. Yeah. And this one is going to be a regular graphic novel size, because the only negative feedback I ever got from that was that people didn't know how to store it on their shelves because it was too big. So we're going to condense it down to regular graphic novel size in terms of the dimensions of it. So same great story, just a little bit smaller.
I'd
See,
like to get
everyone
them
I've
on the
spoken
show right
to,
now,
they
because
like
like
the
that's
big size.
bullshit. Because I love oversized
I do
things. Like
too.
Yeah, me too.
I love deluxe editions. I love the DC Absolute editions. I love Dark Horse Library editions. They're just bigger, right? Some people say size doesn't matter, and in some instances we could argue that. That's fine, or
It's like a cheap
that's
version
cool.
of like IMAX for comic books. I've
Yeah,
never had one person complain about the size of the Switch book. I've had a couple people maybe just inquire about it out of curiosity, like why you decided to, do the not normal thing and go with this. And but I've never personally had anyone complain about the size.
I would.
That's
Well, I
just me.
mean, but your art
Well,
too, like
it was my mom that said
Lawrence.
it. So
But like Tom, your art's fucking beautiful, and like it looks great, and like
Oh, thank you.
even so you know what I like about your art is the I'm gonna call it the cake factor, right? Like the thickness of certain characters and curves, and that all looks good too, but also like just like the vibrance and the chaos and the violence, like that also looks good, like blown up, like and so there's a lot of elements to your art that look good. Like it's like bigger is better, right? And I totally dig that um in this collection, and it's it makes it more fun, it makes it sexy. The whole idea of like the gray area, I said this earlier, like there's this whole graphic novel deals with like a gray area while simultaneously just enamoring us with like beautifully colored art. It's just it's everything you guys have done is really intriguing. Like Keith, this isn't like what, well, no, I guess it is a little bit, because like I think of Daybreak, right? And Daybreak is Daybreak, the art is great, the colors are great. You have where you're coming from, and I talked to you. He's listeners and fans of Blake's Buzz will know, like Keith was on the show when I got to talk to Ron Mars, which was absolutely fucking nuts. And like, I talked to like Ron and Daryl about like, their comics, and Keith was here. And so like Keith knows how to make how to make comic books. Like, how to write them, how to either direct your artists or when to back off and let the artist do what you think they need to do. Like, you've been around this block before, and it's very cool to me because I don't see a lot of Kickstarter comics like this, because I feel like a lot of Kickstarter comics want to be different, right? They want to be like new and fresh, and not that your ideas are like old or stale. Like, I'm not trying to say that at all. I swear to fucking Christ, I'm blending this into a good thing. But you have this like you use what from like a good realm of comics to make new comics, and you have this like deep well of experience. You've worked with so many crazy talented people, and like you worked with like Jeff Johns on JSA, and like and recently you've worked with Dark Horse on the Stranger Things comics, and like it's really exciting that you still want to take indie comics into this like cape mentality, right? Because indie comics and cape comics, like indie superhero comics, basically, like, it's hard to do. It's not easy, and you keep coming back to that, and you keep fucking killing it. And like,
you said so many nice things about me in the past 2 minutes. I really appreciate that.
Well, that's how I get you guys back on the show. Like, it was funny, like, because I fucked up tonight. I think everybody knows, because I was pretty blatant about it online, because I started our live stream an hour early, and I was sitting here at like 7:01, and I was like, something's not right. And I looked at the emails, and I was like, oh, I told these guys 8, not 7. And then I sent Tom a message, and I was like, hey Tom, my name's Blake. We haven't met yet. I fucked up, and we're going live in an hour. Here's the new stream. And but like, anyways, regardless, I was just I shit the bed. I shit the bed on a live stream. I'm not scared to say that. But anyways, you guys, regardless of my timeliness, how to make superhero comics, and you guys make real good superhero comics. Like Tom, you draw great cape comics. Like, yeah, I love it. And you know what's funny is I don't think, did anybody in Switch wear a cape? Oh, maybe like 2 people. There's not many capes. There's actually not many capes.
The little blonde girl, the Truth, she has a cape.
Yeah,
I think she's the only one.
Truth has a cape,
right?
Yeah, I think that's the only cape. That's the only one. That's interesting.
I believe so.
Well, yeah. I mean, the sequel.
Oh, well.
Yeah, more. No, I mean, we really appreciate your nice words about our book. In addition to what you said about the for an indie comic, it looks like a well-produced professional book. You have to understand that Keith and I combined, I mean, we have well over 50, almost 60 years professionally in the superhero comic business.
Yeah, you guys know.
So
you guys
we
know
bring
what
that,
to do.
So it's not like sometimes people might think of a typical indie comic and automatically they correlate that with someone who doesn't have professional experience. They're not mutually exclusive these days. So any professional can nowadays, especially with the technology we have of social media and online and exposure, can easily do their own creator owned project, and it's technically independent. It's creator owned, but with the skill and experience of an actual professional comic creator. So, but we really appreciate your nice words about it. We have a lot of fun doing it. The nice difference, I said this on a previous podcast, is we don't have like bosses, editors, and corporate looking over our shoulder, telling us what to do, and telling us we can't do this or we have to change that. We can literally do whatever we want, and that creative freedom is just so nice to have, and it really makes a project definitely satisfying and worthwhile to do. Otherwise, when you have to fight every day going to your drawing desk or your writing desk, knowing that there could be a little bit of a conflict or an argument over something that you might have to change, it puts a damper on your job a little bit.
Yeah.
But this is so it's such a nice outlet to be able to do your own thing. And it keeps my motivation high, and to be able to do it with friends, to work with as creative partners, writing or drawing the book, it just makes it that much better. It's like showing up to school when you're young and seeing your buddies.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so I've told this story on the podcast a couple times, and I always like to tell it again because it works. Because so when I was in first grade, well, first of all, when I was in first grade, I when I had my birthday in first grade, my teacher had a heart attack, and I showed up with like,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
right, yeah. So this
wow.
this is where we're starting. When I had my birthday, because like when you're younger, like you bring like the cupcakes and the pop or the candy, right, for your birthday. And I like showed up that day and my teacher was being weird. Then they like took her away and she had a heart attack. And then like we handed out like all these like Twix and Snickers and
Oh, so you
Coca-Cola
didn't actually
cans.
witness the heart attack? She just kind of felt off, and then
She kind of was like, "Oh, it's really nice to see you. I'm gonna go talk to other people." And then another teacher came back. Yeah, and then we
oh,
found that out later. But all right, so that's where we're starting. And then where it ended was my friends and I, we loved X-Men comics, and we would buy random issues at like 7-Eleven at the gas station or the grocery store, because that's back in the 90s you could buy these fucking issues anywhere. Like they just had them. And we had this idea where my buddy could draw, right? And we were all watching the X-Men cartoon and buying these like random issues of X-Men. And my buddy was drawing, comics, and we were like, we're gonna write this X-Men comic and put it together and literally like staple it together with like art supplies, and we're gonna take it to the gas station and just like leave it on the shelf, right? And like someone's gonna buy it, and then they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, all these fucking people from Our Lady of Peace grade school like know how to make fucking comics, and Marvel's gonna hire them," And so like we literally like made a legit like we like it was dog shit, but like it was like we made this comic and we stapled it and we left it at the gas station thinking that like people were gonna like mistakenly like grab our comic and have the 7-Eleven people, like be like, I want to buy this. And so we did that. And obviously like I'm not a great comic book writer. I'm a comic book interviewer, right? So like things have changed, but that's how I grew up was like having a really visceral part of comic books be a part of me, right? And now I am approaching 38 years old next October, and so like I'm like dangerously close to 40, and I'm still kind of living that life of like I love comic books. I'm going to talk about comic books. I'm going to try and sell comic books, except I'm trying to sell other people's. I'm trying to sell your guys' comics, right? But like, it's a thing. It's still part of me. It has like sprouted from part of my youth, right? It's like The Last of Us, right? Like I've French kissed the other people and sprouted the mushroom spores into their mouth that are going to grow into this new chaos, right? And uh, nothing has changed. Like a lot of times, and like I bitch about my day job a lot. And there's a lot of things in my life that I wish were better. But what doesn't need to be better is comic books. Like I am still excited about new issues of comic books. I'm still excited for new series of comic books, and I'm still excited for indie comic books. And it's you guys. It's you guys that do this shit on your own, right? And you have families or girlfriends or whatever. Like you got other shit you got to do, right? You there's things on your plate that you have to take care of before the new issue that you're trying to do. And so you take care of that, and you do your real life shit, and then you go into this other space where you make your story real. And that to me is so real and raw and amazing. And I if I got to talk about it. I got to have you guys on my show and tell everybody that how great it is. And it's fucking nuts, man, cuz it really is like you indie comics make me feel young again, right? Like they
That's the
really
thing
do.
right
Like
there. Comics keeps you young. You know, I think that's why
does it keep
there's
you
so
young as a
many.
creator though? Or are you like I've
I think it
aged
does.
57
No, I
years?
think it does. I mean, we've all gotten older, but I think it keeps me young.
Nice.
Absolutely.
That's
No, it's
I
one of
awesome,
think
those
bro.
things
Well,
where like
that's good.
you can have the worst day in the world and crack open a nice story in a comic, and you can escape without leaving your home.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There used to be a stigma with that, a couple decades ago or so, but now it's such an amazing 180-degree turn now that comics is actually a cool thing with the girls too.
Yeah, right. That's I so like not to like well fuck it. I'll shout it. Like I interviewed Steve Orlando a few months ago
Oh yeah, I know
and
Steve.
and, and I talked to Steve and I told him I've told this story several times too. When I was in second grade, my dad was the maintenance man at I was my dad, my mom and her family were real religious, and so when like my dad married my mom, he made a promise to my grandma that like he would always put the children through a private school, right? Like through Catholic school. And he had a job at my Catholic school and he was the maintenance man and they gave us a discount on tuition. And so one day, we're at recess and my dad shows up and brings me the Death of Superman trade paperback and gives it to me at recess. And I was in second grade and the third and fourth graders, like the upper echelon of nerds, right? Like they swarm around me and we're all reading the Death of Superman trade paperback and like we're reading it and they're telling me like there's like five people around me and they're telling me like when it's okay to turn the page, right? And so like we're all reading it together and we're turning the page and then we're experiencing this maddening scenario, right, where like Superman is dying and it was just like it was such a magical experience and that has like somehow stayed with me. Like
That's super cool. I've never had that happen to me, by the way. But I
I'm
mean, it sounds great. I mean,
well, see,
I
and
wish
and
that
Steve
happened.
Steve Steve Orlando told me he was like that's fucking ridiculous because he was like he was like I was getting slapped around in grade school for reading Superman comics and I was like, but I think he was also in like public school, so it's like different. It's different when God's involved. Maybe I don't know because God's bullshit. Sorry, I'm not trying to make anybody mad, but like maybe whatever. But
can I
there were
can I tell you guys a little anecdote about
I would
Superman
love
dying?
that. I would love that, Keith.
So I think it was probably my second year at the Cuber School. Um, in Dover, New Jersey, with the Cuber School, it's a very small community of students and also professional comic book artists who went to the school and then stayed in that area. So my apartment at the Cuber School, I had a couple of roommates, and we had a Xerox machine. We were like the only people off campus that had their own Xerox machine. So this guy, Mike Sellers, who became an anchor at the time, was working production at DC. He was doing production on the Death of Superman issue that weekend, and he needed to make some copies. So about 3 months before that issue came out, Mike brought all 24 pages of art of the issue where Superman actually dies to my apartment to make copies and then to cut and paste the copies onto the pages
No
and shit.
shit.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
got to read the issue like 3 months before it came out.
That's
So I
I'm more
insane.
I
amazed that an issue was done 3 months before it's published
I
compared to
know,
these days.
right? The good old days. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I always tell people like Superman died in my apartment when I was in school because
Wow.
I think
That's
we were
so
probably the first people
crazy.
to read it outside of DC.
That's so cool. Well, it's
Wow.
funny because right now, like I in the next few days, like I have okay, so like I bought there's the new Man of Steel Burn hardcovers. There's the 4-volume hardcovers that just got released, and I bought those. And then I bought Superman Exile Omnibus, which comes after those. And I just ordered the Death of Superman and Rebirth or Rebirth. Yeah, it was. It's not really a rebirth, but like the Death and Return of Superman Omnibus. And I'm waiting for the Death of Superman Omnibus to like get to me. But also, like, I just paid for I paid for DC Ultra, DC Unlimited Ultra for the new deal where you could like for after 1 month of comics hit the shelves, they release them on the digital library, and you pay $100 a year to get that. And DC has given us a gift of the deluxe edition of the Death of Superman, which is basically the Death of Superman trade paperback and hardcover, and that just got shipped. So it's very like small world. We're all here. No, nothing ever really changes kind of mentality of like, I'm waiting for this fucking Death of Superman omnibus. I'm waiting for this like free issue or free hardcover collection of the Death of Superman. And now I'm having people on my platform and talking about like, Superman died in fucking Keith's apartment, which is fucking, it's not like, it's so funny how like nothing ever really changes, but so many things change, right? Like things are just things,
That's the truth,
things
man.
do change.
The business of comics can definitely give you gray hair, but comic books themselves, like I never fall out of love with them, and it's always something to look forward to at the end of a long day.
That's good. Now, all right, so let's talk about that. Let's say, all right, so like comic books can give you gray hair. Does Kickstarter give you guys gray hair? Especially let's before Keith talks and Tom, like as an artist, as someone who has more intense deadlines than the other creators typically, like when you do things like this, do, does it give you gray hair? Does it kind of revitalize you? Do you get that
Both.
feeling? Because I don't see any gray, man. I feel like you're looking pretty good. You're looking pretty.
How old do you think I
solid.
am?
48.
46.
Oh, I was close though. I was close.
A good guess.
But no, but I'm just saying, like you don't look like you're very stressed. You look like you're still excited about comics and Kickstarter. Kickstarter alleviates and adds stressors, right? To like different things.
Oh, it's both. Probably. I mean, I would say more stress than not.
Yeah.
But the stress the stress just comes from having to complete the campaign and get it out in a timely manner, which we did very poorly the first time around. Not that it excuses anything, but it was the first time around was great, great success, but it was also a big learning curve for us as first time Kickstarters. I remember just leading up to launching it, Keith and I were talking, and we got like really insecure, like we joke about low self-esteem because I didn't think anyone would care. I didn't think we had never done that before. This was back in 2016, so I had absolutely no idea if it was gonna succeed or fail.
Wow.
I mean, I personally
pre-COVID comic
yeah,
weirdness.
but I
That's
mean,
crazy.
it's like personally, I wasn't confident enough in my name alone, and I don't care how many nice titles I've been fortunate enough to work on. It never occurred to my mind that my credentials and name alone would ever carry a book to a Kickstarter success. Well, thankfully, I mean, I can combine it with Keith, but we kind of we promoted it pretty hard, and we got some we did interviews and stuff, not unlike right now, just to do the promotion circuit, and it's a pleasant surprise that it did way better than I ever expected it to, and that gave me a nice ego boost. Well, maybe people do follow and still follow and pay attention to our work. So
they really should, because your art's phenomenal, and I've been you guys have been distracting me. I haven't been able to talk about our commenters, the Super Rolls in my back. Yes, I know, Geekly. Yes, so many people get the fun Arizona-ness. That's fine. It's cool. I'm happy for you. Yeah, Cole's Comic Claims. What's up? Cole's a good friend of the podcast. We have a new show now on Tuesday nights. Cole and Blake read a comic. We pick a book on Tuesday nights and try and hype it up before the Wednesday release. And fuck it. Let's leak it. We're gonna do Crash and Troy, the Crash and Troy Volume 1 from Wave Blue World. We're gonna do that on Tuesday night, and they were really kind enough. They're gonna give away a copy. J. Michael Miller, he's here. Thank you so much. But yeah, it's thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it. But yes, you guys have a really interesting layout or layout. I don't know if that's the right word. I feel weird about saying that now, but anyways, I really like I like the art. I like the conflict. There's a lot going on in the Switch. And it's got some great throwbacks to the 90s, right? Like it's got some love to the heydays, and it's got some good, like current conflict. The colors are absolutely wonderful. The action is absolutely wonderful. The dialogue is wonderful. It's about it's like 96 pages of content other than like back matter, and you will blow through it. Like it really, like, it's just like once you start, it's a snowball effect, and it just keeps rolling. And I love this idea of like, when you're bad, you're not bad all the time, right? And when you're good, you're not good all the time. And people forget that. They really do, because we have these like we have these gated, kind of these like gated communities of like what a hero is, and where you're allowed to go and where you're allowed to be and what you're allowed to say and what you're allowed to do. And you guys fucking tell everybody to fuck off with that. You're like, no, like, we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna do things a little bit differently. The good people aren't always good. Bad people aren't always bad. Life is full of gray areas, and I love that. Um, but I also feel like when you're in the Cape territory, that gets dangerous, right? Like, people get mad. Because when you try and say like a superhero has faults, and a superhero may do something that isn't very super, and a villain may do something that isn't very evil, right? Like, people get mad at you, and it's dumb, and like, fuck those people. But also, don't, like, please, like, subscribe to me and like watch our channel and like, do all that good. But like, do you guys ever like struggle with that, like when you guys are making stories like these, especially when you're also adding like humor elements to it, and bringing in like historical comic book elements to it, and when you're building these gray areas, like, is it ever too much? Like, did you guys ever like get into it and be like, this is a bad idea? Like, or because it ended up being a great idea. I want everybody to know that. Like, give these motherfuckers your money, because it's good. This is a really good trade that you should get. If you love superhero comics, and you're tired of how things always end up, kind of like, this is a great superhero comic that will kind of like take you for a different kind of ride. But when you guys were doing this, like, were you ever like, this is a bad idea?
Never. I never
Never?
felt like it was, no. If anything,
Awesome. That's dope. Like, I'm stoked for that. Like, that's amazing.
if anything, I thought maybe in hindsight, I could have pushed the evil stuff a little more evil.
Could have went harder. Yeah.
Could have gone harder.
That too.
Yeah.
I thought that too. I thought you were generous with the characters sometimes.
I mean, aside from Loverboy, I mean, who was really despicable and doesn't really have any redeeming.
Fuck.
He has no redeeming quality whatsoever. The other villains are all. No one really does anything that bad.
Yeah.
So I think that's something for the future stuff that we're going to do, is kind of push the boundaries a little bit more, not just with what the people do, but also the language of the book. and give Tom a little more room to. Tom has the most amazing like visual sense of humor, and he can work so much stuff in that I would never dream of. Just the way that he'll compose a page or the body language of the characters, things like that. Like give him room to really bring it to life even more in his own way.
How'd you guys do the cat? Like who really constructed the cat? Like
Well, visually, Tom did, but
yeah.
it was definitely like a character that I've carried in my head for a long time. This evil villain. No, I wouldn't say Doctor Doom, but more like a Lex Luthor who's kind of older now and then trapped in the body of a house cat. And it's a lot of fun to write. I'd love to do more Doctor Hate too down the line.
Yeah, well, because we still don't, we're gonna get we know now because you guys have said this on your Kickstarter page. We're gonna get more Doctor Hate, but we don't necessarily know what form Doctor Hate's gonna be in. I almost feel like that could be a mini series in itself of like of Doc. I loved that in the main series. This play on her and Dr. Hate, and when he tells her, when he's there, all these things are going on, and at there's this random moment where he's like, I always thought of you as a daughter, and I was like, I never thought of you as a father. You're a fucking purple cat. But when it happens, right, it just like it explodes this new phenomenon, this new frontier. It like it lays this new foundation that you can build a house on. And I loved that so much, and it took me by surprise. And I really dig how both of you guys work together on that. And I'm very excited about this. I think it's very cool to like take this new series, or it's new to some people, but this new series, right, on Kickstarter, and you're like, back this, you're gonna get this original graphic novel, and guess what, if it lands and it does well, like we're gonna do more. And I love that, man. I really fucking do. Like, because so many people think like, oh, well, if I can land a publisher, right? If I can land Boom, if I can land Image, if I can land Dynamite, if I can land something, right? Like I can like my fucking comic book life will be complete. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, right? Because like even and you guys show that you're like, you have this like double plan, right? You're like, we're gonna do this, and then if we land that, we're going to do this. And so many people don't have that backup plan, or don't have that backboard to spring off of to launch into new territory. And you guys did that. And that's just it's very neat to me.
Yeah, it used to be where the end game was to land a job at Marvel or DC, or maybe Dark Horse and Image to a certain extent as well. But now the game has changed so much, and the creator owned. I've said for a long time, creator owned is the future. And now the game is, if you're smart, you build your audience at Marvel and DC, use them to your advantage, build up your
and then you spring off that,
and then you piggyback off of that and do your own IP.
Holy shit, Tom! You just fucking threw everything for a loop that I've ever known. I gotta go. I'm like, oh, hold on, dude. I'm sweating.
I was wondering. I
gotta take my hat off. I gotta take my hat off, man. You're fucking dude. That's so cool. Like, this is the first time ladies and gentlemen, who's like, well, obviously, if you've watched me, you've known I've never talked to Tom before, but like, I've talked to Keith a few times, and I've talked about Keith's other projects, but that's so intriguing because so many people, not necessarily creatives, but like outside people, like maybe consumers, right, are like, oh, like, yeah, like you get this contract and you get to tell stories and then you get to do whatever the fuck you want, right? But maybe it is the other way around. Like maybe you're like, yeah, like let's have a name, and then fucking light the fuse for the firework and let it blast off and let it spark out and see how it looks in that night sky, right? Like that's interesting. That's so interesting, man.
Yeah, the game has changed
Keith,
nowadays.
Keith, you didn't give me a heads up that you were bringing fucking Tom on the show is gonna fucking throw me for a fucking loop and
Dude,
toss me down.
he's Asian. Of course, he's a genius.
Well, you're actually both fucking geniuses, like for real. Like I knew looking at Tom's artwork that shit was real, right? Like it just looked. I love. All right, so I love '90s comics, right? That was me. That was my
Me
childhood,
too.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
where I blossomed from. But there's also a lot of fucking dirty trash, not great shit that happened along there too, right? So when you get people to look at your 90s storylines and your 90s art and pick that up, right? And be like, "Ooh, yeah, that's current. That's real. Like I'm feeling those vibes like right now in 2023." That's hard to do. And also like when you as a writer like with Keith, when you're doing dialogue and stuff and to build up that kind of same mentality, it's just so wild, man. It's so wild. You guys have this like you have this history and you have this mythos and you've been around the block, right? And there's a lot of fucking discourse right now of like of like old head, new head, like brand new writers versus old writers. And it really irritates me because I don't see that. I get that. Like I get that like you guys some things are building up like history and there's a mythos and there's dialogue and how things flow. But it I don't think that like if you worked on comics 10 years ago that your mentality doesn't have a spot in the current discourse. Like I don't believe that at all. And a lot of people are kind of going against that grain right now because there's like this discourse of like old and new, right? And a lot of times I think people should shut up and take advice on both sides. Like oh, I didn't do this 20 years ago, but now it works a little different. Or oh, I'm trying to do this right now, but 20 years ago, like I could fucking make my dialogue a little better if I paid attention to the people that did this before me. And it's just it's fucking gnarly. And you guys are right there in the midst of that where you are making a new comic. And not even making a new comic. You're re-releasing a new comic, but when you read it, as I did, and I read this. It's about 4 or 5 issues. It's a great trade. It's funny. It's interesting. It's different. It you don't really ever know where the pages are going to turn. Like you're turning the pages, but you don't really know where it's going to happen. And there's no like solidified aspect to that, right? Like you don't you guys aren't formulaic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I love that because like I said, the current discourse is very much like, oh, you've been doing this for a few years, fuck you, or oh, you just started doing this, fuck you. And there's not, fuck all of us, right? That's what it ends up being is like fuck all of us. Like it's just life, we're just
Well,
trying to talk about life.
let me ask you a question about this discourse that you're talking about.
All right.
If you needed to get brain surgery, do you want your surgeon to be like 1 year out of medical school, or do you want a surgeon that's been doing it for 30 years?
All right. Well, let me counter that to what kind of health plan do I have in 2023?
I'll go with the new guy.
No, I'm just
because
no,
the old
yeah.
guy is old school techniques, man. His techniques look dated to me.
I think
Yeah.
I don't think it matters if you're an old writer or a new writer or an old artist or a new artist, as long as you're a good writer or a good
Yes.
artist.
Totally. No, totally.
And
I'm
I
with
think
you.
I think that someone can be doing this job. Tom and I have been doing this for about 3 decades apiece. As long as you're still trying to grow and you're still trying to break new ground, and you're not stagnant, just relying on the same bags of tricks over and over again, I always feel like my best work is going to come out next week. Like the next thing I do is going to be the best thing that I do.
Yeah.
And if I didn't feel that way, I would probably go get a different job because there's nowhere left to go with it.
I
So,
like
I
that.
mean,
I
those are my
like that a
thoughts.
lot. I
Yeah, it
like
keeps
that a
you
lot.
motivated when you still feel like you have something to show off. Otherwise, why do it? What's the point? You
I'm
know?
still hungry. Like I'm still hungrier than ever to like,
Me too. And
build.
I've been dieting for like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks now.
So
That's no, I like that because that is interesting. So even with your history, both of you, like you you grew up in this, your mentalities have changed in this, but even still now, as you mentioned, you're 3 decades into this, and you're still open to change. You're not solidified in your ways, and you know what? I'm going to answer my own question. That's why. Does your dog have a
Combo.
fucking sweater? Does your dog have a sweater right now, Tom? We're
Yeah,
done.
yes.
That's it. We're done. We're done. We're gonna
It's
log
cold
off
here in
right now.
Minnesota. It's like 0 degree weather in Minnesota.
but but that mentality of not being stagnant, and of trying something new, and of not being scared of being pushed out of the way, and simultaneously um moving yourself through the mosh pit, right? Like moving yourself through the physical chaos. Like you guys are still you're still trying. But I feel like there's so many people that aren't trying in comics right
Yeah, I
now.
mean,
Like there's a
I'm sure
lot of
there's
people not trying, and
I'm
it's a
sure there's
bummer.
people that just kind of phone it in, just for the check. I mean, what industry, what job doesn't have those types of people? I mean, shit, I probably went through a phase, during my career a couple times where I felt like I was doing that, but it's because I probably went through phases where I kind of lost the passion a little bit, just kind of felt robotic before, and then I always snap out of it eventually. You know, it's hard to maintain that innocent high of excitement and positivity all the time. But
Yeah.
everyone's got their swings up and down. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, um, it's been great. I mean, like I said, comics keeps me excited, keeps me young. It's what kept me out of trouble when I was a kid and got me into drawing and stuff. So no
Dude,
complaints here.
that's so cool because when I was younger, I was a bouncer at a bar, and I was having too much fun. And like some things smelled better than others, and I really like to smell stuff. And I got to a point where I reminded myself, where I was like, you can either like smell the flowers, or you can buy your fucking comic books, but you can't do everything, right? And so like I got like comics kind of like pulled me out of a really bad spot, where I was like, you just stop, like like it was just like, quit doing stupid shit, Blake. And comics did that to me, and comics are there now. Like this point now, even like I'm very open about like my life isn't the best right now, and like student loans are fucking, or private student loans are fucking me, right? Like a student loans are like disbanded on and off, and we never really know what's going to happen with that with the government. But like I have a lot of private student loans that are like coming after me, and other stuff. And um I have found a place where I would much rather like read and enjoy and experience these stories, rather than like be an idiot like I used to be. And so comics were very much like that with me, where it brought me from they brought me from a dark place, that I didn't really expect that to happen. And I will forever love them for that. And I will forever, like, when I review a comic, or when I think of a Kickstarter comic, or an indie comic or something like that, like I'm always going to come back to that with a really personal space, where when I tell somebody that like I like this comic and you should read it, I feel like I have now reached a place where people know me, right? And they're like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I'm gonna read this comic. I'm gonna listen to Blake here now. And it took me a while to get there, right? And this has been like several years going. Even before I did these interviews, before I did these live streams, like it was just like, when I started all this, I was doing one tweet reviews. I would read graphic novels and try and tell my audience that, like, ooh, you should read this, and then also tag like the writer, the arter, the arter, the writer, the artist, the colorist, and the letterer, right? So it's like try and like put all these things together and be like, hey, do it, listen to me, boom. And now things are a little bit different now. But yeah, I used to I was in a bad place, and comics brought me out of it, basically.
That's so
Uh
nice to hear um, because that for me, when I hear stories like that, I mean, other than the fact that comics are just so damn fun to read in general, and the characters are always cool and something you can relate to. When I hear that comics helps people like deal with their personal issues, like yourself, it actually motivates me as a creator to keep wanting to put out content and to keep wanting to entertain. I see my job as kind of like very similar. I mean, we're in the technically the entertainment business. We
yeah,
put out
totally.
stuff to entertain, and when I hear stories like that, it just, it's really great. I like hearing that. So thanks
Yeah.
for sharing that.
No, I'm
Makes me
I'm
want to
really
keep creating.
I'm really happy I ruined part of my life so you could feel like that. No, I'm just it's a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke. No, but no, it did. It just things got weird, and I mean, even now, like now things aren't perfect. Everybody who watches me knows I like to drink. Everybody knows I like to get weird a little bit, but I still like um there's a part of comic books that I have found that like remind me of like what it is to be human, what it is to be a person, what it is to feel. And when I get in touch with guys like you, and because I love comics, but not every comic is perfect. Not every comic is that cerebral. Not every comic is that visceral, right? Like you gotta be special. You got to have that other element that like reminds you of like how to hop, skip, and a jump over that fucking rock to get you where you need to be. And not everybody can do that. There's a whole lot of comics coming out every month, right? And not all of them are like, man, I read this fucking book and it reminded me of what it's like to feel human. And that's rare. And again, I'm going to go back to both of you guys and your talent and your storytelling capabilities, and remind our viewers that this is why you should back this campaign. This is why you should pre-order, basically a pre-order of this new graphic novel, is because they do remind you of that. They remind you of like, oh yeah, like whatever you feel, like life gets in the way. Like, oh, I'm a bad person and I feel like being a good person, and I also still have to deal with life. Um, that's what your comic does. And that's really like, I really hope both of you know that how hard that is and how intense that is for you guys to pull that off. And that's why one of the reasons why I was so excited to talk to you both again. I've talked to Keith several times. Tom, this is our first time talking, and I hope, Tom, I hope you don't swear me off, and I hope we get to talk again, because
No, we'll
I
do it.
feel like,
I'll look at my calendar for this year already for
but
open dates.
you guys made this like all to narrative, right? Like it was this other step in the storytelling of like you know um
Well,
you you you
Bill,
feel it different. You feel it different.
sure. I think that, uh, superhero comics from Marvel and DC, if they were a food, they would all taste like chicken. And when you have the freedom to do it in the indie market, and also you're telling the villain story, maybe it tastes more like buffalo wings, where it's got an extra layer of flavor on it. It's got more kick to it. than
Nice.
you're going to expect from a regular, corporate mainstream comic.
You're a smart cracker. You're smart.
Awesome.
You're yeah,
Amazing
like
analogies.
you're like a toasted piece of brioche bread that
He's a
has that
wordsmith
has some
after
that
all.
has some herb butter and some cheese and maybe
Not
like a
just
little.
cheese, but brie.
Yeah. Oh
Wow.
yeah. We got some melted brie and maybe like a little bit of like toasted bison, like a little bit of like toasted bison crumbles
Wow.
on there.
With a
I'm
side of
fucking delicious.
croissants.
Yeah. You're a
No,
fucking yummy little snack, Mr.
I'm
Keith.
delicious, dude. I didn't
Hey,
realize how
remember, I've
tasty
been
I was.
dieting for 2.5 weeks. Come on, guys.
No, but I'm glad you guys get that though. Like even like the stories you guys are putting and this is a story that's already been out, right? And you're re-releasing it, but you're re-releasing it in a time that kind of needs it too, right? Because it's
Well,
there's so
I'll
much.
tell you a little secret. I already have Keith already sent me the script for the next story.
Okay, cool.
Brand
Yeah,
new
keep
story.
going because this is what I want. This is the sauce that I want for
Oh,
my
that's it. That's
pasta.
all I got.
Let's go. Fuck.
No, I mean, I'll tell you a little bit about the next one if you want to. It's both a sequel and a prequel to this original graphic novel, and that we play with time a little bit, and you get to see Electricia and Loverboy kind of at the start of their villainous career, like in full throttle villainy, before Electricia loses her taste for it. And it's also a sequel, and that we get to see what happens after the Switch graphic novel with the characters, where they end up. She's basically joins the group of heroes at the end of the graphic novel, and we get to see kind of how that's going. So we get to see a glimpse of what came before, a glimpse of what's coming after, and then the next graphic novel we do is going to be another 90-page hardcover, and that's really going to take it to the next level. We're going to push every fucking boundary possible. We're going to break comic books as a form.
Love it. Oh, I love it. I'm excited. Like I like for real. Like I this first graphic novel is great. And right now, like so you can get the because right, like, if we look at the tiers of the new campaign, right, like you can get the new graphic novel, and you can get you can also pay for the Dynamite hardcover uh uh pre-release from a while back, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it was a 2-in-1 tier. You can get both copies. So the remastered softcover with the extra material, and then the original hardcover, which they were scarce. I don't even have that many left myself, but we're putting them on the line for this campaign.
It was funny because when you approached me talking about it, I was like kind of like Googling it, and I found it online, and I was like, wait, what? Like you already did this, um, and but yeah, are you for people maybe that I'm trying to formulate this in a way that like doesn't make me sound like a prick. For like for people that like didn't back previously, like this is a way for you to like get into it, right? Like
This is their
because
second chance.
yeah,
They're
so
the
it's
ones
a
that lost out the first time, so
yeah.
we are kind enough to give them a second chance.
I like that though, because I won't lie, like I have an indie comic rep, right? Like and I've done a lot of Kickstarter work, and like, but I'm not perfect, and I haven't read everything, and like this is where we're like spinning out of, and so for you to like reach out to it's a way for you to reach out to a new audience, and you can say like, hey, get this soft cover. And then, but also, and you mentioned this in your campaign page too, like if the campaign does well and you do get the soft cover and maybe you get the hard cover too, like fuck it. What are you gonna do with your fucking money, ladies and gentlemen? Like really for real, what are you gonna do with your money? Get the soft cover, get the hard cover. It's a really good comic book. It's worth buying twice. I just want to let everybody know it's very much worth buying twice. But like, what what are you going to do if you spend this extra money, if you do these extra things, if you're here now in the new moment of the Switch, right? And you guys are taking, if you get extra money, everything's going into the new volume that you guys are working on, right? Is my
Yeah,
absolutely.
understanding?
we've already met the goal, which is nice. It's great, but everything that we get from now until the end of the campaign is bonus that we can hopefully put towards throwing more fun stuff for the supporters.
And Tom, is that going to be you? Like, are you still going to be the main artist? Whatever happens, like, are you?
No, I'm trying to quit, so I'm already training another. No, just kidding. Yes, I am the main. I mean, we
I
have a
thought he was
slew.
serious. I thought he was serious for a second. I was like, oh shit, sorry.
No, we can't. It's my creator-owned baby too. I can't just leave and be a deadbeat dad like
I
that.
feel like it's kind of your baby too. Yeah, I felt like that reading it.
No, I'm always going to be like the main artist of the Switch. But
Okay.
we have and we will be continuing. We will continue to have guest artists do pinups, maybe a variant cover or something like that. I do enjoy looking at other people's takes on. I mean, just because I'm the co-creator doesn't mean that the way I draw them is, the be all and end all way. I love seeing other people's interpretations. Hell, I like seeing fans try to draw, like Electricia and stuff like that. So it's always fun to see. It's actually really flattering when I see other comic book artists and fans try to draw some of our characters.
What? So I know you have. I know you have some other. You do have like fans in the realm of it, like doing pinups, doing stuff for you. Uh, right now, like if just like regardless of everything else going on, like who would your dream artist be of taking Electricia into it, and not like a new issue, or just like a pinup realm. Like, who would you like to see draw
I don't know.
Electricia?
I'd love to bring back Penthouse Comics and have Adam Hughes do an Electrician book or something like that.
Yeah, all right,
Yeah, you know
okay,
what I'm talking about. You
yeah.
know what I'm talking about, Penthouse. Don't lie. I know you.
I know what you're
You
talking
grew up
about.
in the
That's
same
dope.
era. You know what's up.
What about you? What about you,
Maybe like
Keith? Like, who would your pinup dream be?
maybe like get Frank Cho to do a sketch cover,
Oh,
and
Frank
you
Cho.
know
You can't. Frank is too good, man. He's too good, and he's too thick. He's too thick with two C's. He's too much. You get
one of his outreach
she be
covers.
you couldn't you wouldn't be able to touch the comic, man. And she'd be too thick. She'd be too electric. You couldn't even turn the page. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I would be really excited for Frank Cho. Like, that's awesome. No, anyways, yes, totally. So that's actually awesome. And
You know what I want to do too, Blake, and I haven't even mentioned this to Tom yet. But if
What?
you know it, I know. Here's some breaking news for Tom too. Well, I mean, if you notice, I remember when we talked about Daybreak last time I was here, you were kind of tickled by the fact that the villain Snow was in Daybreak. It was made out of cocaine.
oh, and I saw
Um,
him. I saw him in this one.
yeah, yeah. So he originated
Oh,
in the Switch, and that
yeah.
gave me the idea to do a full-on Switch slash Daybreak crossover one shot, and like I would have 12 pages drawn by Tom, like one chapter by Tom, one chapter by Stefan, the Daybreak artist, and combine those two worlds. I think those two characters, because Daybreak is very optimistic and bright, and Electricia is kind of an asshole. I think they would play each other off, pretty well, and they probably would make out at some point, which I think Tom would enjoy drawing too.
They definitely would. Tom, you missed this part because I talked to so Ron Mars. Ron Mars was on the podcast last time, and I made a joke about how much I love cocaine to Ron Mars. And
A joke.
yeah, well, no, I love cocaine. It's amazing. I can't afford it anymore. Like, that's we
I've
are
actually
we
never.
are
I've never tried it. Can you believe that?
Dude,
I've
all right.
actually never
So
tried it.
here's what you guys need to do. You need to come to Kansas City Comic Con one time, and we're just gonna do a weekend of bad decisions, and we're just gonna
Nothing but Drugs and strip clubs.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. We'll all
This
just
live stream, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do live stream. First time cocaine ever do. No, but there some other. Well, it was my fault because I made the joke, but like other people have like sent me messages on Twitter, like, remember that time you talked to Ron Mars about doing cocaine? I was like, no, like let's just. I'm not
Ron
perfect,
does.
all right. Like Ron totally remembers it because he made.
He just brought it up the other day.
You were like, I'm going on Blake's bus. He was like, oh yeah.
Oh, he enjoyed the hell out of you. Believe me, he enjoyed this podcast.
He told a friend that runs a comic book shop outside of town. He said the same thing to them, and I actually thought he was lying. I was like, no, he doesn't. But anyways, but yeah, I totally made a joke, and my fucking dog kicked. I have a new puppy who's a clusterfuck. And he like kicked the door open, and I got up to like I was like guys, I'm so sorry. I gotta like get up and shut the door, right? Because my fucking dog's barking, and like I don't want and I come back and fucking Keith was the one who was like, oh yeah, we're all talking about doing cocaine. I was like, okay, but yeah, he so yeah, it was a joke about I used to be a bouncer. I used to be a bouncer at a bar. I used to do a whole bunch of weird shit. And finally I learned that, like I liked reading comics more than I like doing drugs. And that's how it, because dude, that's how it comes up. You can buy a whole omnibus, like an omnibus, like if you buy from like in stock trades is like $70, or you can buy a fucking gram of cocaine for the same price, and then you wake up Saturday morning and you're mad at yourself that you spent like $100 whatever dollars, like, and you like wake up and got to go back to work. And so yeah, anyways, I know this is why Tom and Keith came on my show to talk about why we would rather buy comic books over cocaine. But I'm just anyways, but yeah, I totally told Ron Moore's a cocaine story, and now it's been a couple months since we did that, and people are still like, hey Blake, remember that time you talked to Ron Mars about doing cocaine? I was like, can we not talk about that? Like I just but no, I'm glad he had a good time, and because it was also like, regardless of that tiny spot where I talked about that, it was still like I got to talk about like we got to talk about Green Lantern, and we got to talk about the girlfriend in the refrigerator and Gail Simone, and there was a whole lot of other elements of that conversation that like blossomed into like really good discourse. But it all comes back to me talking about how I love some things I like to smell. And anyways, regardless, it was awesome. And yet again, Keith shows up into this clusterfuck of powder sensation of Blake's Buzz, where like you're back here again, and I'm loving it. And Tom, Tom, I got to talk to you, and this was like for real.
You know what? Can I interject
right.
for 1 second, because my
Yeah.
brain's working like crazy right now. What
Get
about a
weird.
character? What about a character named the Buzz, and his powers are activated when he snorts cocaine? So for the time that he's high on coke, that's when he has his powers, and we could base it on you. It could look like you.
Yeah, you just have to pay the $500 tier to make that happen.
Yes. Like the overweight, nose runny fucking weirdo. Yes, I would do it.
There's a story.
Saving the world 3 hours at a time or something.
No, there's a story in that. Say we do create a character called the Buzz. There's a story in that where he finds out that there's a person named Snow, and his like we could do a storyline of him tracking Snow down.
Yeah.
Because, and trying to befriend him, knowing that he's like the ultimate fix as a friend.
And I will help you guys sell this 4-issue miniseries where Blake's Buzz tackles the Snow.
Oh, this is 12 issues. This is our watch.
This is a
maxi series.
It's a 12 maxi. All right, let's do it.
It'll be called The Switch: Snow Buzz.
Yes. And every issue that releases on Kickstarter, we're gonna do another interview, and I'm gonna remind everybody that you know, this and this. I don't really like how it smells, but this is how it pans out, and we'll do it. We'll make it happen.
Sounds
I'm
great.
down.
I'm in. I'm
Yeah,
in. Can we have your likeness rights? Because if we can, we got to
you
deal
can
with
have every right. You can have
Perfect.
Nice.
you can take my fucking student loan payment plan. I'll give you guys whatever the fuck you need. Like we'll make
I think the costume. I think the costume will be your Unibauer look with the hood up over your head.
the
and
hood.
hat.
Yeah, we'll do. Oh, I got the fucking giant earbud. Yeah, let's do it. No, I'm down. That would be amazing. And I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, yeah, that would be nuts. That would be crazy. There was a time I was gonna do a comic. And
You should do a comic.
I want to do a comic, and I had. You know what's fucked up is I was gonna do a comic, and I pitched an anthology, right? And I pitched an anthology about a female bartender who a guy was like being a dick to her, right? And she kicked him out, when she kicked him out, and the bouncers like dragging him out, which is like all I did for like several years. And so like the bartender's like yelling at this guy, and I'm dragging him out, and she's like, fuck you, get out of here. And he's like my dad would own this bar. I've heard that so many times, by the way. Like, oh, like my dad, like I'm like he owns a fucking boat dealership. Like, fuck you, I'd buy this bar 5 times. And I wrote this. I had this idea of like this comic book where like that happens, right? And you like kick this like entitled asshole out of the bar, and when they leave the bar, she's like walking to her car, and the guy like pops behind the dumpster, and he's like fuck you, you should have never treated me like that. And I wanted like the weight to shift, right? Whereas like you're like, oh no, like she's in trouble. And this fucking like gross dude like cornered her in a parking lot, and like what's gonna happen. And what ended up happening was she's like I had this idea of like, what if vampires were mosquitoes, right? And like if you were a vampire but a mosquito, and your face split in half, and you had a mosquito tongue that like shot out of your face and like drank this dude from the inside out. And so I pitched this comic, right, of this female bartender who gets confronted in a parking lot and drinks this dude from the inside out, and then like takes his fucking clothes and throws them in the fucking dumpster, and she's like, oh, I drank this dude and turned him into dust. And that's just like how it goes. And these people were like, oh, that's a really good idea, we don't want you to be in our anthology, but they asked me for a 40-page one shot. And then the artist quit, and then things happened. And so yeah, like I like had this I was gonna make a comic book, and then the comic book didn't fucking happen. And then like I got really fucking sad, and it got like really intense. And then everybody told me, they were like, oh yeah, like if you're gonna make comic books, like you're gonna have your heart broken and not get to make these comic books all the time. And I was like, I don't really like that. Like that's a bad, I don't like that. I don't like that, like, so anyways, so yeah, that all happened. And now we're here and talking about your guys.
I think that sounds like a pitch to New Pain.
I think we're going to publish this book.
Hey man, Keith told me, he did message me when I talked on the internet one time, and I was like, I was complaining about stuff, and Keith said he would help me make comics. So maybe I don't know. Like there are no rights involved. Like I got ditched and tossed out. So like everything's there. If you guys ever want to, I don't know. This is not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about your guys' comic and why everybody should pay you guys money, not pay me money, or well, I mean, I guess if you want to pay me money, you could. I'm just saying, but we're here to talk about your guys' comic. And I would honestly, like, with seeing what you guys have done in the past, I would be honored to work with you, but things are different. But um you guys are here doing a comic right now, live on Kickstarter right now, regardless of all the weird shit I've said for the last hour and 20 minutes. You guys are live on Kickstarter with your own comic, a new superhero cape comic that is modern and real and relational. You guys are doing that right now. Like you two, right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. You guys are doing that right now.
It's happening.
2023, it's happening, and it's getting funded, and it's gonna do it.
It's
Why?
the whole ball of wax.
It's a whole ball of wax. It's a buzz baby beeswax right now. But why? Tell us right now. Like, why are we back? Why are we back in this? But I want to know from both of you. Like, from one of you's writing it, one of you's drawing it. You both have a lot of things invested in this comic. I want to know both of you right now. Why are we back in this?
You want to go first, Tom?
It's cheap entertainment. And like Keith said earlier, I mean, we always feel like, every you're going to see new stuff from us, and everything new, we feel it's our best work yet. So, it's not an entirely new comic book, but there's some new artwork in the remastered version with extras. And, it's, if you're already on the fence about it, I've said before, that means you're going to buy it. You may as well just do it.
May as well,
Otherwise, you're just going to torture yourself.
What are you gonna do with your money, right? It's funny you just brought that up because we got this comment in the chat right now. He knows Keith. What is Tom's deal? Yeah, what is Tom's? I'll tell you what Tom's deal is. He can fucking draw like a goddamn madman. That's his full time. Why did I even bring up this comment? Oh, whoa. He's fucking.
It's Mike.
It's Mike. Oh my god! I was about to talk tons of shit on you, Mike. Like, you know what? Oh, this. All right. I just got rused. I just got pulled into some. I just got pulled in some bullshit. Mike, I love you. Strider did. All right. Sorry, but no. Tom can draw, and Keith can write, and that's how we got pulled into that shit, right?
Pretty much. And I think that's Mike being a wise ass, I think.
And I think, he's totally being a wise ass.
Yeah.
I like Mike already.
He should have popped in. He should have popped in before. He's brought in that. Mike is how I met Keith. Like he brought Keith in. Yeah. He brought in like his whole deal and brought in Keith and that's how that happened.
Mike Thomas is a full-time artist. He does a lot of work in comics, also does a lot of work in television. He's also a photographer.
He's a lawyer.
Photographer. He's also a math genius. He's an astronaut. Former gay porn star.
Two-time former bodybuilding champion.
Amazing hugger. He gives the best
2002.
I feel like all you guys have the best huggers. When you guys need to come plan on a Kansas City Comic-Con in the Midwest one day and do a.
I tried this year. They had the room for me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That makes
they
me
said all
good.
the tables are all.
I haven't even I gotta put my what is it called? An audition? I guess I got an audition for them.
No, I'd like to go to Planet Comic-Con next year. That sounds like a really nice big Midwest show to do.
It's pretty big. Like I feel like it's a decent following. Like it's if you can make it out there, if you can, and they have ridiculous criteria too as well. Like they want for fucking press, they want like 10,000 views a month, which
I believe it. I mean, I think San Diego Comic-Con, I think Comic-Con does the same thing or a similar thing.
Really?
I mean, when you get to a show at that big of a caliber, like San Diego or New York or Planet
Yeah, but
Comic
Kansas
Con.
City's not that. Kansas
Well, for the
City's not.
Midwest, it's pretty big, at least from everything I've heard. But they just everyone's asking for credentials now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. No,
by the
it
way,
is.
I don't want to ignore Mike. It's probably killing him, like because I know Keith kind of answered for me, but no, I draw full time, not full time comics anymore, but I still got a foot in comics. Most of
What
my
do you do?
freelance
Like,
work,
what do you like? Are you advertisement? Like, what do you?
no, just TV shows. So
Okay,
a lot of my stuff is in the realm of like reality competition TV shows, like CBS's Big Brother, um, Wipeout on TBS, Double Dare on Nickelodeon, stuff like that. All these
Double
like
Dare still happening?
I don't know if it's still happening. The last thing I
Get
did for
the
them was like a
fuck
couple
out of
years
here,
ago. No, they did a
Did,
revival. They did a reboot like a few
Keith.
years ago.
Keith. I'm getting him. I'm getting him out of here. Double Dare isn't real anymore. What's this guy doing? No, I'm just. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
didn't you work on what was the one? The Floor is Lava. Was that
Thor's
you?
Lava for Netflix. Yeah, I did some work on there. I did some storyboards for Hunters on Amazon, which I just saw now that they're doing a
Hunters is
season.
great. Oh my
I
god,
haven't
that's
seen it.
nuts.
So, but I just heard they're doing a season two. But
Yeah,
they didn't contact me
season
for it.
two just launched. Well, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
they probably don't like me or something.
fuck you, Amazon Prime. You should have brought Tom on.
But no, I mean, I've got a couple things that I'm not allowed to say quite yet that'll be on TV hopefully this spring.
I get that.
Well, one for sure, and then um, I mean, I'm still doing the Comic Con circuit. The Under the Red Hood storyline's done so much for my relevancy and career. Um, and I had some exclusive covers come out recently in the last half year, like a Red Sonja versus Vampirella #1
Nice.
variant cover that you can only get through me exclusively, and then a Unbreakable Red Sonja #1. So
Ooh,
sticking with that chick theme, and then just announced last week, I did a variant cover for this new special edition of Superman issue 39, and it's I actually drew the entire Justice League, but this issue is only going to be distributed through children's hospitals and cancer centers. So it was a cool thing to be a part of.
that's awesome, man. That's so That's so fucking
So I
dope.
still try to draw comics. Other than that, just trying to get the Switch thing off the ground here, and see what the future holds for Electricia and company.
I've kept you guys for a while, but like, how did I probably should have asked this an hour ago, but like, how did you guys like come to how did you guys like cross your clusterfucks? Like, how did you guys meet? Like, how did this Keith and Tom, wonderful chaos come to be?
So Tom and
I think it
I
was through
originally
Terrence,
met.
wasn't it? Or
Oh God. No, Tom and I met, I think in the early 2000s. There was a Yahoo, like a private Yahoo inking board. Just all inkers we'd talk shit on comics and we'd talk shop and stuff. And Tom and I clicked online pretty well. I liked him immediately. I liked his sense of humor. I liked, he would sometimes be a little provocative and rile some people up, but I could tell that he was just having fun. He wasn't, there's no mean intentions.
Yeah.
So we met in person, I think like a year later at San Diego. I think in 2004, was it maybe, Tom?
2005.
2005, yeah. And he's really been one of my favorite people in the world, one of my best friends in life since then. Like, I would take 10 bullets for this guy. He's a
Yes.
gem.
How many
A gem
bullets
of a
would you
human
take?
being.
How many bullets would you take from me, Keith? Like, where are we at? Where are we at in this
7, but I
7?
think
All right.
I think the Buzz would just
That's
like
pretty hardcore.
dodge the bullets.
Yeah, we're slow. I'm fat and slow, baby. We're
Now,
maybe.
now when you're sniffing the special powder, then you got the
Oh yeah, we gotta get that going. No, that's really cool. I'm it, I like that. I like that you guys have you have this history, and you have this mythos built up, and you guys have like made these things happen. It's super exciting to me, and I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed this graphic novel that you guys have made, and
thank
I'm
you.
really excited for um I really am hoping that you guys get like a future audience, like, or not a future audience. Like, you guys are obviously going to get a new audience. Like, it's, but I'm excited for more people to read about this comic, and I'm also excited about the new realms that this comic is going to take from the new audience that you guys build, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Whether it's just, you know, for me just fucking running my goddamn mouth on a live stream, as opposed to, like, you know, where you guys end up, because I do, like I said, I really do believe and love wholeheartedly in this in this stream that you guys are putting up, the mythos, the dialogue, and the weirdness of the you know, going from good to bad, and dealing with that, you know, dealing with you know, I think it's very smart how, like, even a villain, you know, right? Like, you're not always a villain, right? There's gonna be a moment every now and then where, like, you disagree with that chaos, right? And there's also going to be another moment where, even if you, like, want to be good, like, oh, like, we can't always be good all the time either. And I love that you guys have found that mentality, and you've found that weirdness, and you've found that balance to, like, tell your own stories. I really believe in that. I really see it, and I'm really excited for it. And I'm very, very much excited for the new element to come later. And I really hope that this campaign gives you guys enough money to uh find the comfort, and find the, yeah, like, find the comfort into to tell the story, to the new elements to the story that you guys want to take. I really hope Kickstarter, like, gives you the opens the doors for you, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, thank you. Well, you know,
Yeah,
if
thank you very
Kickstarter
much.
doesn't work, we'll go to Indiegogo, right, Keith?
uh,
Well, it's a
and
fun.
and that was the end of the stream, ladies. No, no, no. I know Indiegogo isn't all bad, but, like, there are things. But I I I I don't think
I'm so naive. I don't even
you
know
know.
what you guys are alluding to, but you know, it's just a
Sure,
suggestion.
Tom. Sure, Tom.
Tom, you're so wacky.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you know, we're gonna. I think we'll do more Switch, even if Kickstarter turned their back on us and we didn't have one backer. We'd find a way to do more of these characters. Like, every Switch has a lot of characters in it. It's got, you know, a group of heroes. It's got a group of villains. Every single one of those characters has a story to tell.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's frustrating that it takes us so long to tell these stories, because there's so much ground to uncover. There's so many uh, playgrounds to play in with this book, but we'll get there. You know, one step at a time.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm gonna put my booties on, and I'm gonna tiptoe through the mud with both of you. I'm ready for it.
Oh, we appreciate having you
I
on the team.
really want both of you. Both of you are creatives. One of you draws, one of you writes. I really want both of you to just really appreciate what I just said. That I was going to put booties on and tiptoe through the mud. I really want you guys to notice how, like, smart I am, as opposed to other creatives that have interviewed you before. I just really want everybody to know that, like, I talked about putting, like, basically, I have a fucking puppy. And his name is Bruce, and we're trying to put boots on him, and he doesn't want to wear boots. He doesn't want to do it. And all he wants, you know what he fucking does? He fucking digs up everything in our backyard, and he digs up they're like the giant, the giant larva, right?
Oh, gross.
He digs up these fucking giant beetle larvae and tree roots. He digs them up in our backyard, and he brings them inside, and he throws them around like a little fucking asshole. And that's what I'm trying to be for your guys' comic. I'm trying to be a fucking dog that digs up the fucking larva, that brings them inside and reminds people, like, hey, this thing hasn't turned into a beetle yet, but it's delicious, and we should eat it, and
It's
we
supposed
should
to be delicious,
celebrate it,
actually.
and we should throw it around, and you should have to fucking clean it up. No, both of you, for real. I've kept you for a while, and this has been such a great time talking to both of you. Keith, still, I can't believe you've been on my show 3 times now. It's fucking shocking to me, because
The best is yet to come.
that's exciting.
Ooh,
So the
I
fourth
see
or
a
fifth
theme.
time, the fourth or fifth time made me get weirder. It's funny because many years ago, there's the I love omnibuses, right? And so like the Jeff Johns JSA omnibuses, there's like the 3 big volumes of them, and for a while they were sold out. And a couple years ago, I finally snagged all 3 volumes, and they were like sold out, and I got them for like regular price. I didn't have to pay like $200 for a volume or whatever. And so like I got all these volumes, and they were ready. And then after that, like is when like I stumbled across Keith and like met Keith, and he was like working, and I found out he was like working with Jeff Johns at these other things, and I was just like, it's so comics are so weird, right? And both of you know this. Like, comic books are fucking weird. You don't know where you're going to end up. You don't know how things are going to plan out, right? Like you get an idea, but you never really know what's going to happen. And that's how this happened. That's how I met Keith. That's how things spread out, and then other things happen, and then and now here we are in this conversation right now. And so anyways, I just I want to thank both of you, I guess, is what I'm getting at. This was a very fun conversation.
Thanks for having us, Blake.
Well, duh. Like it always makes me laugh when people are like, thanks for having us, because when you have a podcast, when you have a platform, right, what the fuck are you gonna do if you don't have creatives on the show, right? Like, I wish, oh man, baby boys, do I wish I was cool enough to just talk about comics by myself, and not have to fucking like scoop you guys up and fucking cradle you through the Everglades of comics, right? Like, I wish I could just like be like, hi, my name's Blake, and I review comics, and like everybody fucking loves me, and ooh, I did this, and ooh, I did this, and ooh, I said this, and but that's not fucking bullshit. Like, I just like,
I think you could definitely fill an hour by yourself.
I probably could, but it wouldn't be great. It'd be an okay hour. It'd be an okay hour.
It's
But
always good to have someone to bounce off of. I know, like when
yes,
Tom and I do a lot of conventions together, and it's twice as fun to have him sitting at the table next to me, because we can bounce off each other all day long.
Well, we always talk about doing our own podcast for fun, but then, like, with as many shows as we do together, why don't we just literally just set up a digital audio recorder between us during the entire show weekend? That's our podcast. So we don't have to, worry about scheduling and, doing all this production stuff. And, every
the new
convention is a
Gamecast.
podcast weekend.
you guys ever read manga? Are you guys manga people?
A little bit.
No, I've been trying to, I'm actually, I want to get back into it. When I was in high school, I was into that manga and anime stuff, but then I got out of it for a long time. Well, I mean, I'm still technically out of it, but it's so popular right now, especially with all the anime shows, and then, I mean, I got girls are into it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The cosplays and everything. Even some of my friends from high school, they're still into it, and they've made some recommendations to me. I just need to find the time to get back into it. But I'd love to get back into it.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. I love comic books, but I'm very, very into manga.
Yeah,
And
I feel like I'm missing out.
You definitely are, if you're not keeping up with anything. Like right now, like I'm fucking reading fucking Dragon Ball. I bought the Dragon Ball manga. Like, I'm reading Dragon Ball. First of all, I bought Dragon Ball Z. I bought the box set, right? Because when you put books in a box, and you could buy a giant box full of comics, right? And it's just amazing. I get, ooh, gets me excited. And like, so like I bought the Dragon Ball Z manga box set and I read volume 1. And I was like, you like realize all the shit you missed like in the previous. And so I bought the Dragon Ball box set. So I'm like, I'm just am like buying fucking manga and I'm real fucking excited about it. And I would really, you know, it's not like I want to bail on comics, but I have a like, first of all, it's a great name, Unbelievable, right? Unbelievable is a really good fucking manga name for like podcasts or whatever. And I'm really trying to do, and every now and then like I do an interview with people and they're like, oh yeah, like this is what fucks me, right? Like everybody's like, oh, like I could do like an interview with you every now and then. Like I can't find a co-host for the life of me to do this Unbelievable podcast. They're like, oh yeah, I'll do one. I'll like, you know, like July and August. I could maybe do like 2.5 shows in July and August. Like that's the shit I hear, like from me doing the shit. So I can't find a way to do, I just want to talk manga. I really, it, you know, when I got back into comics, it was so cool. Meeting people online and get the recommendations and the shit that you never heard about, right? Like all this stuff that just like that floods in, you know, and you pick up the grains and the salt and where you can pick up, and that's how manga feels for me right now, and it's really exciting, and oh man, I'm trying so hard to like find a co-host. Like it's like I I'm trying to find like a really nerdy co-host to like build off of already what I'm doing nerdiness. But anyways, but yeah, manga, comics, everything. I just want people to find the happiness that I found, right? Like you know, TV shows are great, movies are great, everything's, you know, that shit's there for us all the time. Video games are great. But there's a different element of comic books and manga. And when you read things, one of the best things I ever heard about was like the dual narrator, right? When when you're the narrator yourself and then you see the narrator in your comic scripts, right? So there's like the you that's talking and the you that's there on the page, and as a reader you have to come to terms with that and take that into the storytelling element. It's so amazing, and I just want to try and get more people into that, and that's actually why I do all this shit. Like I just want people to get excited about books and storytelling and comic books and manga like I am. Because I'm a fucking boring weirdo white dude with a mustache and sunglasses, and I like to read manga, I like to read comics. And that's just how it goes, man. And but anyways, that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you guys, with your new stories and your new Kickstarter campaigns and whatever else you guys are going on. I know I've kept you guys for almost an hour and 45 minutes. I'm sorry. I did it again, Keith. I did it again, Keith.
Hey, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yes. And
there you go.
that's why Keith's falling asleep right now, because he hasn't moved. I'm just kidding.
Are we still on the air?
Yeah, are we still here? No, all right. So guys, real quick. Well, I mean, like, you guys got the Kickstarter going on right now. It's got a couple more weeks left. Everybody should fucking back it. If you don't back it, you fucking talk to me. Like, I'll meet you on the back corners of the internet. I'll tell you why you need to fucking back the shit. It's fucking great. It's a great comic booking. You guys are really good at making comic books. Real quick, like, let us know. Anything else you guys want to shout out? Like, where do we follow you? Where do we keep track of you? Like, what's going on in these side streets of the American internets? Like, how do we keep track of you?
Well, I think we're pretty easy to find on social media. I've got Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and my own official website. I think I'm like the first 20 results that come up if you just Google my name, or more or less. So I'm pretty pretty easy to find. Keith and I have an appearance next week in Bloomington, Minnesota, at a brand new comic book shop that just opened
Oh, very
here.
cool.
Yeah, called Most Wanted Comics. So we'll be hanging out there for a few hours to, just to sign stuff and just say hi to the customers, and so that'll be a lot of fun. We'll, probably plan some cohorting and some new pain plans. We'll probably discuss and hash out while he's here. Take him to the Mall of America.
Oh, I've never been there before.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of big.
You can
Does it still have a roller coaster?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. It's like a big one.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty nice. And it's got an indoor amusement park.
So you get an indoor amusement park, great comic books. Keith, what do you got to add to that?
Nothing.
No pressure.
No, I mean, you can find me. I don't have as much of an online presence as Tom does, but Instagram, the pretentious Keith Champagne, and I can kind of branch you out to our new pain page, and I'm on the Facebook and stuff too. So I'm around if you need me. I'm easy to find.
They are really easy to find. And you know what's great about them being easy to find is because they both have fucking really good comic books that you should fucking purchase.
That's right.
Maybe? No? I mean, do you guys disagree? You feel free to disagree with me, Keith.
I do not disagree.
Let me know if you don't want people to buy your comic book. Like I'll tell them. No, for real, man. Like Tom, I love Tom's art. I love Keith's storytelling. This has been so fun to talk to you both again. Like Keith, I can't believe you've been on my show 3 times. It's fucking gnarly. Because I really, really did think Keith hated me the first time we talked, and I was just like, it like nothing to do with you, man. But it was just like we had like 5 different projects to talk to, and it was like juggling like each moment, and like when I'm heading a Kickstarter or whatever, like and I'm talking to all these different people, and this is like like 20 to 25 minutes a piece, like like someone's talking, everybody else is not talking, and it was just like it just felt I felt bad, I felt guilty, I felt weird, it didn't feel good.
Listen, there are definitely a few people in the comic book industry that I hate, but you are not one of them. So it's all good. And maybe in a couple months for the next issue of Daybreak, maybe we can do this again.
No, dude, I would love to have you back on. Have you back on for Daybreak. Well, I mean, I think the last time we talked about this, I mentioned I paid all the extra money for the nudie. I bought the second issue nudie variant of Daybreak.
Dang.
Yeah. I fucking ponied up, ladies and gentlemen.
You saw my nude variant that I drew? That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Did you like what you saw?
Fuck yeah, like I that's why I bought it, because I liked what I saw. No, it was beautiful. You know what I really liked about it is because I'm addicted to pinups, right? I really do like pinup variants. I really love I love David Nakayama. Like I love David Nakayama's variants, and he's very like clothed variant, but also simultaneously sexy. And there was like I haven't bought many nude variants, like I was just like I always think about it and always back out of it later. But yeah, like the issue 2 of Daybreak, the nude variant, it was very beautiful, it was very calm, it was very like just like it was just very human, and I really liked it, and I paid a lot of extra I paid a lot of extra money for it.
Well, we appreciate the support.
I just did that. I didn't do that. We also had a conversation about the last Daybreak was when we did that. And I think I mean I've done many interviews since, but I feel like this was very similar to the same element where I was just like, "Ooh, I like pinup variants," but it's classy, it's not like it was just like it's in the cosmos, and there's the stars and and the planets, and it's just it was a beautiful variant, and no regrets. Like I'm really glad I bought it.
Wait till you see the next
Nice.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
give me another one for issue 3. Make it kinkier. I don't know, like me.
All right. You got it. Whatever you say. You're the art director now.
Yeah.
Tom will take that
Whatever
challenge
Blake wants,
anything.
Blake gets.
Yes. Ooh, I like. Oh, see, that's why I have you guys on the show. All right. Right now, I know, like again, so we've talked about this. Everybody everybody needs to back the Switch. It's so good. It's so like you don't get to see a lot of like the bad heroes go to good, or the good heroes go to bad, or like it's kind of like in between, right? It's just like there are elements in this character that the dichotomous aspects aren't it's not so easily seen, right? There are things that change how we produce our humanness, and that is what this fucking comic book does. I maybe made that sound way too smart and pretentious, but I still believe that. Like it's not good and evil, it's not black and white, it's something else. It's beautiful, the art is great, the dialogue is great. The the elements that weigh upon how we decide to progress ourselves, um, you know, outside of our personability or whatever. I don't know. It's it's a really fucking good comic, ladies and gentlemen, and you want this. You want this in your stack. You want this in your bagged and boarded short boxes, whatever the fuck you keep them in. I don't know what the fuck you do. If you buy a fucking nude variant, hang it on your wall. That's what I did. But you want this, all right? It's a great comic book, and it makes you think about life differently. It makes you think about good and evil differently, and it really does. And it gets me excited about superhero comics, because you guys are just you're just doing shit differently, um and it's just really great. And so anyways, I'm gonna keep like tumbling across myself for an hour if I don't shut up. You both tell us right now. We'll start with Tom. We'll go with Keith. Where do we keep track of you online? Where do we what's the best place to follow you? What's the best place to like keep track of the stuff you put
I
out?
think I just said it before, didn't I?
You did. You totally just did. You totally just did.
Instagram, Facebook, those are my two most active ones.
Yes.
If you want some official news, then go to my website, www.tomnguyen.com.
Right.
TomNguyenStudio.com. I don't even know my own website name.
Well,
Keith?
Same for me. Same for me. Instagram, Facebook are my two most active.
Same for me. I didn't remember my past website, but no.
No, and then Stephen.
I think Keith's website is champagnewishes.blogspot.com.
That was my blog. Yeah, no, there is a New Pain website that's slowly being built. So we'll have a New Pain Productions
Champagne
website.
Wishes is so good though. Like,
yeah,
God.
that's my blog from a while back. Sometimes I look through that just to pull out the old pictures I posted of my kids when they were little.
I don't even have kids. Like that's fun. Like I guess I could post like pictures of Bruce. Like here's Bruce eating a chunk of wood and mud outside.
Eating a
How
larva.
old is Bruce now?
About a year and a half.
Okay, still just a pup.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot. Oh, he's so stupid. I love him so much, but he's a fucking idiot. Oh my god, he's so stupid. I don't even know.
Give him some time. He's only been on this planet a year and a half.
Yeah,
so can't expect
it's
him
funny
to be too
that the last live stream I did, he was fucking flipping out when I had the door shut, like trying to like cut off the, because he was being loud, right? So I was like trying to like keep him out, and he kept barking. So I was like, I fucking let him like hang out, and he was sleep. He slept. I'm sitting on a chair right now. He was sitting behind me on a chair, and for an hour and a half he was perfect, right? And like the last hour and a half he started making weird noises, and so I'm trying to talk to fucking Matt Lowry about his new Kickstarter a couple weeks ago, and we're talking, and the last couple hours he's like, and he starts fucking making all these weird noises and shit, and I was like, dude, stop. And then I mean literally like the last 15 minutes, then he hops up, he like jumps on me, he's like staring me in the face, he's like, oh, fuck you, like I want a treat. And then he's like, oh my god, it was like absolute clusterfuck. Anyways, he's a cool dog, and I really do love him. He saved he legit saved our family, man. We lost 2 dogs last year.
I'm sorry.
We lost 2 dogs last year, and adopted him. We lost a dog, and then a couple weeks after we lost the dog, our Casey Pet Project, Kansas City Pet Project, did a like a free adoption deal, right? And so like we went and we with Casey Pet Project, they like have all these dogs, and you can like go through their website and like pick. And so like we like picked all these dogs, and we like went to the shelter to like meet all these dogs, and all the dogs like they had like already gotten claimed, right? And so we didn't get to like meet any of these dogs, and so we finally tell this guy, we're like, dude, can you like throw us a bone here, man? Like, we're like, okay, like none of these dogs, like, can you bring us a dog that like is okay? And he brought us this fucking dog, man. And he fucking Bruce ran into the room, and he jumped in my lap, and he kissed my face, and and then he hopped in my sister's lap, and he kissed my sister's face, and then he hopped in my dad's lap, and it just like, it was very serendipitous, and we adopted him, and yeah, so so we just kind of stumbled into his. He's a clusterfuck, but he made our life better. And so anyways,
sometimes the pets pick you, not the other way around.
Yeah, they totally do. They totally do. He picked us, and then he totally picked my live stream to be a fucking prick last week. But anyways, regardless, guys, this was so fun. Thank you for putting up with my bullshit. Thank you for coming on Blake's Buzz again. Keith, like, thank you for coming on like three.
Oh, you're the man.
Three times, man. You're the man.
I'm always happy to come chat with you. Thanks for letting me come on and talk about our book.
Yeah, well, hey man, I'm super stoked. Tom was great to talk to you. I just super blessed talking to you guys. We'll do it again. We should. I hope we do. I hope you guys have a new comic later that I can, fuck up and trying to get people excited about.
We will.
All right, guys. If you guys don't have anything else to say, I'm going to play the song. I'm going to get us out of here.
Hey, anyone out there listening, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us tonight.
No, yeah,
thanks,
thank you all. You guys should back this campaign. It's really good. I read it. I did read it. I really did read it.
I made it.
I like it.
Yeah. Keith likes it. Tom likes it. I like it. Buzz, baby. That's what we're doing. Everybody, thank you so much. People, thank you for dealing with me when I was dealing with my shit, and we missed a couple weeks of doing live stuff. But for real, like these guys are really awesome creators, and you should follow them. And you should follow me. You should follow Keith. You should follow Tom. You should follow everybody. Just buy everybody's comics. I don't know, like a boom, 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 bam. Let's play the fucking music and get the fuck out of here. It's Blake's Buzz Live.